Hey everybody. I'm glad to be back on. This is the first episode of our season 2. We're going to start doing our seasons from March to October. So this is our first show of this series. Our our normal shows is going to be Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are doing a Halloween special this year. This is the first time I'm off for Halloween, so we're going to be doing it. We're taking out 3 people that's never been investigated before, so we're going to try to see how they react to the equipment and the spirits that's coming to them. I got a co-host with me tonight. She's my cousin Shasta, and here she is. Hey, how you doing?
Everybody. I'm good. It's been a long weekend.
Yeah,
Geared up, I guess, for the weekend, for the week coming up, I guess. We'll see what that has to bring.
Well, you got anything for our viewers? What about any upcoming events that you want to share right now until we find out about others?
Well, right now I'm working on a couple of things. I can't really share them because I'm not sure if I've got them locked down, so I don't want to get any hopes up. There's a couple of locations that I'm working on that will be very interesting if we can get them to pan out. I've made some calls. We're just waiting to make sure the schedules will work out. And if that all goes to plan, then we'll have some amazing investigations to take place in this location. But we're probably looking more like the December, maybe January timeframe. Okay. So it's a little early to discuss where yet, but just know that it's going to be, when we get it set, it's going to be great.
Hey there, Native Wild Man. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Native Wild Man and Boots, he's on.
Yeah. Well, I do have a couple places. The Trivette Clinic. We will be going there November the 19th. We're going to try to go live that night, probably around about 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere like that. I'm not real sure yet if we're going to hook up just 4 cameras or all 8 cameras yet. We're going to try to do a lot more of outside too, because last time we was there, we actually had some stuff happened outside.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more to that place. Every time we go, there's a lot more to that place. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to be missing the 19th because I am on countdown to grandbaby. Yeah. I have no idea. I have a granddaughter on the way, and I have no idea when that child, she is deciding on when she wants to come, not anybody else. Yeah. And she's not supposed to be here until Thanksgiving, but she, I think, has different plans. So we are from here until Thanksgiving on grandbaby watch because it could be any day. So it looks like I may have to stay at home and not ghost hunt for a few weeks.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, have you heard anything else about the Graham Mansion or?
No, they're still under their Halloween, their haunted house stuff. Okay. So they're so hard. Everything's so hard to get into and confirm and all that stuff while they're doing their haunted houses. So I have to wait until after their haunted house is done. Once the season is done, then I'll be able to start looking at when I can book for new investigations. But yeah, that, and I'm kind of hoping that they forget about me falling in their creek if they have cameras.
I was going to ask you that if falling in more creeks lately.
Yeah, no, not lately. But yes, I'm hoping that maybe that footage will get lost before they see me again. But yeah, I'm just waiting on them to get through their haunted house season, and then that way we can get in there because they really have down near the creek. Because I know because I fell in it. They
Yeah.
have a whole like town. It's like the face of a ghost town built
Yeah.
along the edge of this creek that you have to walk through. It's part of their haunted house. It's really scary looking. I'll see if I can find some pictures and
Nah.
pop them up for next week.
Uh,
But it's a neat setup that they have out there. But during haunt season, it's so hard to get some of the bigger places to pay
oh,
attention.
uh, also, our next week's show, I have thought about this show for a while. We're going to do a thing about cemeteries for next week.
Yay!
Uh, about the symbols on each stone, what they mean, what it's mean about putting coins on the stones, especially uh, military graves. You know, when you go,
Mhm.
you'll see people putting coins on there, pennies, nickels, and dimes. I've got all that situated. I know now what all of it means, and we're going to go through all that and see uh, and let everybody know what it means and just by respect and all that stuff.
Well, you know what? Maybe, just maybe.
That's David Holt right there, Facebook user.
Hey, David, you know what? Maybe if I can work it out next week, I will try to join if my internet will allow me from a local cemetery
Okay.
because we have a couple of local cemeteries close
Yeah.
that are not locked down.
Yeah.
Um, so I will try if I can make it happen. I will try to join in the podcast next week from a local cemetery.
Maybe you can show us a few of the symbols that we talked about or something of them.
Exactly. I'll go to the back of the cemetery because I know the cemetery is very, very old.
Yeah.
So I'll go to the back of the cemetery, and I'll try to come next week from the cemetery.
Okay. All
If
right.
I get arrested, send bail money.
You want to go ahead? I'll let you announce our guest. You know him a little bit more than I do, so you can announce him, and I'll bring him up after you get him announced.
Okay. Well, with us tonight, we've got a special guest that's coming in. He's going to talk to us. He has been, I'm not even sure how many years investigating. We won't go there. But not only an investigator, but he has been a key. If y'all see me swipe, it's because there is a gnat bothering me. He has been a key person as far as history at Trans Allegheny, I believe, is the location that he was there. Super cool, talented. I've investigated with him a couple of times. Um, Very wonderful guy. Can talk about anything and everything and knows anything and everything. I've had to come to him a couple of times about different things in paranormal. And like I said, he's helped me out and we've investigated together. So I'm going to introduce you to Greg Graham, better known as Copperhead. And I'm going to let him take it away and let him tell us what he does, how long he's been doing it, and some of how he got into investigating and some of the stuff he's got on board for his future days coming up. So we'll let you take it away.
All right, y'all here is Dave. Hey, bud, how you doing?
Hello, everybody.
Uh,
Doing all right so far.
yeah.
Did I get that right? Trans Allegheny was where you were at?
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
there a few times. I don't think we crossed paths when we were at Trans Allegheny.
No,
I
I've
might
been
have.
there. I was there about 8 years.
It's been a really long time since I've been to Trans Allegheny. That was back when my legs actually worked really good and I could do stairs.
Well, there's a
Um,
lot of those.
exactly. Yeah. I learned that the hard way. One thing I did like about that location though was upon check-in, you didn't get checked in, you got admitted. And
Hmm.
you got admitted for a reason. And the reason that they gave you, if you look at the reasons that people were given to be committed to Trans Allegheny, some of them were completely off the wall reasons to be committed to a psych center.
Yeah.
Well, when we were talking earlier,
Uh-huh.
one of the reasons was kicked in the head by a horse.
Yeah. If you got kicked in the head by a horse, you could be dumped at the psych center.
There was
It's
one.
Allegheny. I mean, it's
There
just
was
unreal.
there was a story. Now, whether it's true or not, I'm not 100% sure. But there was a story that a guy came and had his girlfriend with him and his wife, and the girlfriend came up and pretended to be this girl's best friend, and they brought her up and said, "Hey, we don't know what her problem is. She's just went crazy." And they ended up putting her in there, and then the guy left with his girlfriend.
Yeah. I mean, it was some of the reasons that were on. I still had my committed sheet where I spent the night there. But like I said, some of the reasons were just, I don't know, like postpartum insanity. Like after you have a baby, if you were crazy or if they thought you were moody, they'd stick you in the mental hospital.
Female troubles.
Female troubles, you got stuck in there. Now you just slap somebody around and yell at them a little bit, and they tell you, "Nah, take Xanax." But back then, they just stuck you in a home somewhere.
Yep.
I mean, it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And transportation. Now, they told us the story when we were there, and I'm not sure if this is true, but they used to get, because the train station used to be at the bottom of the road, at the end of the road.
Mm-hmm.
And the trains used to run there. Like if they needed to bring somebody in from another location, they would actually put them in a wooden crate.
Yep.
And they would crate them on a train car to the station. And when they got to the station at the bottom of the road, they would call the hospital, and the orderlies would go down to the train station and get the crate with the crazy person in it and take them back to the hospital. And I'm thinking,
they uncrated them there.
And did they uncrate them at the hospital or at the train station?
At the hospital.
So they had to lug this wooden crate. I could see this being functional for some of our family, John.
Yeah.
I'd like to put a couple of our family members in a crate and ship them off to a mental hospital.
Yeah, I would. I'd like to do all of
them. Hey, wait. Hold on. Not all of us.
So tell us about yourself a little bit there, Greg, and fill us in how you got started in the paranormal and stuff like that.
Well, I've always known that I could feel things or whatever, but I was living in Missouri, and my neighbor next door, when I moved to another town, my neighbor next door, he told me, he said my house is haunted, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. He's like, no, man, I'm telling you the truth. He said, we've got a lady in here, and I don't know if you guys know about Branson and Silver Dollar City and all that, but it's a 1800s town.
Right.
And his daughter said, well, she said that she saw a woman in the house. And when they went to Silver Dollar City, they wear the mop caps, the aprons, the 1800s dress, all the women do. And this one lady was in a blue dress, and the daughter pointed to her and said, there's the witch. That's the witch that walks into my bedroom. And sorry about that. I'm going to have to stuck that under a pillow or I'll hear that all night. But she said, that's the witch. Well, I was over there and we were looking at his floor to replace it, some of it in the bathroom. And we're standing there talking, and I asked him, I said, is Jane home? He says, no, she's at work. And we're sitting there talking. About that time, I see somebody, and we do the pre-1840 rendezvous and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that she makes dresses and mop caps and aprons and all that stuff and sells them. Well, she makes them for herself, tries them on, and she'll wear them around, And I see this lady go by, and I turned and looked at my buddy, and I said, I thought you said she wasn't at home. He said, she's not. I said, she just walked by. He said, no, she didn't. I said, yes, she did. And I stepped out into the hallway and looked down the hallway, and there she was at the end of the hall looking back at me from the knees up. Nothing was on the floor. And I'm standing there like, what the, and Kenny, he comes running over and pokes his head out. He pokes his head out and she's gone. And he looked at me and said, "You saw her. You saw her." I said, "I honestly don't know what I saw. I'm going to the house." And I said, "Don't bother me for a little while. I gotta think this over." And I went home, and then later in the day, his wife got home and she come over and she says, "You saw her. You saw her." And I said, "I saw something." I said I told her what I saw, and she told me that I'm the only man that has seen her. No men have seen her. Only kids and women have seen her.
Mm.
And that got me wondering, why was it me? Why did I get to, why did I get to see her? And from then on, then of course ghost hunters and all that stuff come out, but I was already going places and doing things, and before that came out.
Yeah.
And that got me, I guess. Yeah, your very first paranormal experience is basically a full body apparition.
Oh no.
And other people look their whole lives and never see one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare.
And to me, that just lit a fire on me.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. Have you ever thought about taking your dog with you to uh investigation or anything in the future?
Well, I have thought about it, but this little dog that we've got, he actually came from the asylum.
Yeah.
His name is Cy, which is short for asylum because that's what the kids named him. And he used to run that. He used to run all over the place down there. And when they had the Great Dane down there, and George Lopez from Port Orange Paranormal, I don't think he investigates too much anymore, but he has a video that is just, to me, to all of us that worked there at the time, it was amazing because you can see Boo playing with somebody and romping around and jumping around playing, and there's nobody in there. And this dog sitting there, boy, he's just turning his head like he's getting petted and everything. And we're all watching this like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, because we know the dog. And he put it up. He put it up on YouTube, I believe. And if you look it up, I think it's Great Dane Plays with Ghost is the name of it. And he put it on there, and he does a little narrative, and that it meant more to us than it would anybody else because of the situation. But yeah, this one, he'd be meandering around and doing his own thing. I don't think nothing bothers this dang dog I got behind me. Like I said, if you hear snoring in a minute, it's him. He's laying back behind me.
Have you ever lived in a haunted house or anything?
No. I've never lived anywhere that I would think there was anything paranormal.
Yeah.
Now, I've worked in some people's houses back in Missouri and here also. That it was, I think it was the previous owners to both of them, and here we are in there remodeling, and I'd see shadows out of the corner of my eye and see somebody standing or feel somebody standing behind you, and you turn around, of course nobody's there.
Yeah.
The one that I'm working on now, the guy did all the work to the house himself. and I was in there. I tore out. It has all plaster and lath, so I had to tear all that out and then new drywall, all that stuff. Well, the lady went to her son's while I was tearing it out, and I got it all tore out, and I'm putting the sheetrock back. And I'm down there working, and I got this weird feeling, and I looked up at the steps, and I saw a shadow up there, and I said, "Hey," I said, "she's just making it look the way it used to look. She
Yeah.
wants to make it look good again." I've never been bothered, and that's the last time I saw him.
Yeah.
And she asked me, matter of fact, she asked me about it today. She says, is my house haunted? And I kind of chuckled and I said, no, not really. And she says, wait a minute. What do you mean, not really?
It's a loaded question.
and and I told her what happened. And she told me that she used to leave and she would come home and the light switches were turned back on.
Yeah.
And she'd come back and she said I always figured it was him. And I said, well, somebody watched me for a little bit up on the stairs, and I said that's the last I saw him when I told them what I was doing.
Yeah.
And but they never. It's never been, that one has never been malicious or anything like that. I think he's just checking out what everybody's doing at the place.
Yeah.
But
Do you always like to get the history of a place that you investigate first or after you've done investigations?
I like to do it after.
Yeah.
I I I would just as soon not know anything about it.
Yeah.
And when the very first time I did Moundsville, and this is, I'm not making a plug. I'm not making a plug or anything. First time I did Moundsville was remember when Zach did Paranormal Challenge?
Hmm.
Okay, I was on Paranormal Challenge for the Moundsville episode, and I'd never been there before. And they were telling us about stuff, and they had the guy walk us through. But I'd just as soon not have known anything going in there. I would have had 10 times more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, you know, um, that's like when I did the first tour at the asylum. My wife bought me a paranormal tour, and she says, "I'm going to go with you." I said, "All right." So we went, and the lady was talking. It was Sue that did the tour. But as she was talking, I was so amazed at everything. I was walking around looking at stuff, and I didn't hear half of what she'd said about any of it. And I was having a ball. I mean, I had EVPs like crazy up there. I got touched on the shoulder, and I was walking back. It was crazy. I was walking down the ward, and then all of a sudden my left shoulder got cold, and then I just felt something put their hand on my shoulder. I said, "Okay, you want to walk with me? That's fine." And we just. And I've got this hand on my shoulder walking down the ward. Well, then I turned around and come back. It stayed there till I got to one spot, and then it went away.
Yeah.
And I went down and told Michelle, and she's like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, it's so cool. I got to go back." And so I went back down. I went back down there, and it happened again. But it wouldn't go past the one door. It would not go past that door to go on down to where they were at. And I was trying to get it to come down with us, with me to them. And then I told them to come down there, and then it wouldn't happen. Nothing happened. And that's the crazy stuff that like when I did tours, if I saw something, I wouldn't say a word.
Hmm.
I would not say
Yeah.
a word. And people are like, "Well, why didn't you tell us?" Because then everybody's going to see everything. When you see it, I said, it's not about me here. It's about you and your experience.
Right.
And I've had Oh man, I've had some crazy stuff going in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's really hard to go in there and not have an experience, though. I
yeah.
can honestly say that because I remember the first time that we went, the group that we were with, we had some younger people that were in it. And they weren't making fun, but they were acting like it was no big deal.
Yeah.
And the way they were acting, it was almost as if they were begging for something to happen. So as they were coming out, they came out from behind. They were behind us, and one of the girls was with them. The guys were acting more silly than the girl was, but the
Hmm.
girl paid the price for it because all of a sudden we hear this squeal from behind us, and down her forearm here on the inside, she had like claw marks on
Hmm.
her where she had gotten scratched. And there was no way she could have done it to herself. We looked at the door, there was nothing on the door she came out of, but something scratched her coming out of there. But the way they were acting, it was like, well, I mean, we kind of can't feel sorry for you because you were acting stupid the whole time you were in there. I mean, if you're going to act like
That's
that, something's going to happen.
that's one of my big things. I try to be as respectful as I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Now, if they start giving me fits, I'll give it right back.
Yeah. And that's
And
exactly what
you
happened to her.
know,
Unfortunately, the boys were the ones that were more into it, but she just happened to be guilty by association because
well,
that's what happened.
Adam.
Hmm.
Okay, me and
Oh, wow.
Adam, when we're together,
It's trouble.
he not always. Okay, maybe.
99% of the time, it's trouble.
Um, but he was the one. I'm the one that goes in and stirs things up, and
Just this I know.
I can find. I have a bad habit of finding the ones that don't like to be found for some reason.
I was in cell 7 with you at St. Albans. Trust me. I'm fully capable of knowing what you're all about.
And I don't know why I find them.
Me either.
And I've been told, I've heard it tell me, get out or F you or whatever. And I'm like, well, why do you want me to get out? I just keep trying to talk.
Yes.
Okay, this aggravates him a little bit.
Hmm.
And Adam is always sitting close and he gets the brunt of it.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I've witnessed this in person. I've witnessed the dynamic duo together. And yeah, they do have a
Adam,
tendency.
we've been on investigations together at this island and be down in the kitchen and I stirred up a little bit and Adam's sitting there and finally he looks up at me and he says, I gotta go. And he had a big, I mean, it looked like right here, it looked
Mhm.
like somebody just grabbed like this and just started twisting.
Oh, wow.
And he had a big old knot and a red mark on his arm. And the whole time I've got something stabbing me, my back is burning. And I just keep going. And I don't tell the groups any of this stuff because I don't want them freaking out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want people, oh, it's demonic. No, it's not. It's malicious. There's a difference.
Yeah, no, they're just
And
not
when
liking
I
what you're
left out,
saying. Tifa.
the night he got that big pinch mark on his arm, I had a big X scratch on my back where it was burning. And I mean it was an X on and it oh man, it was red. It hurt. It hurt so bad. And I stood there the whole time and I told the group, I said, well, it's time to go. I said, I don't think they're gonna do anything, you know. And we
Yeah.
walked out and the group went out meandering around doing their thing. And I went over to Adam and I said, check my back. He said, hell with your back, look at my arm. He said, I had about enough of this. He said, anytime I go with you, I'm the one that gets it. And I pulled my shirt up, and he said, "Oh, that's worse." I said, "Yeah, that's worse." It was welted up. I mean, it was a good one.
You really have to come, John, and get the two of them together and investigate with both of them together, because it is a sight to behold. I will tell you that. Now, yeah, I remember. But I mean, I think that was the first time I've ever been touched was in Trans-Allegheny, and it wasn't like I was touched on the neck, but I was wearing a backpack, and I always try to wear my hair up so that it's not my hair messing with anything and all that kind of stuff. But I could actually feel something on my neck, but then I could hear something, the sound of like the sound that your skin makes or your fingernails make when it scrubs across a backpack, that nylon sound of a backpack. So I hear this as I'm walking and I feel something on my neck, but then I hear that backpack sound. And I turn around and I'm like, okay, well, there ain't nobody behind me. What the hell is going on? So something had come down the back of my neck and touched my backpack because I could hear it. And just that sound, and it sounded like the whole building was completely quiet. And all I could hear was the sound of that backpack. And I can still remember it years to this day. I can still remember the sound of that backpack.
Yeah.
When whatever it was touched that backpack. But that's the first place we ever had flashlights go on and off on command.
Well, I got tickled with the flashlights. One of my buddies, I don't know how he come up with this, but one of my buddies was using the flashlight and setting it. And he said, "This is so cool." And I'm like, "How did you figure this out?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I was just in here goofing around." And he come up with that, and he was sitting there, and he loosened it all the way up and turned it back and then backed a little bit and set it down. And it's going. The thing that got me on this one particular show, they decided to use the flashlight experiment.
Right.
That was after they had been to the asylum. And I was like,
wonder where they got that from.
But down one night, I was down in the lobotomy recovery, and there's a guy down there. I've got a picture, and I wish I could bring it up and show you. There's a guy down there in a pair of overalls, and he is freaking huge. I've seen him. I mean, I've seen the apparition. Matthew Slozer sends me a picture from down in the lobotomy recovery, the last one on the left. It's him. He got a picture of him standing there. And I always just called him Big Guy because I couldn't get a name out of him. He wouldn't talk to me very much. And he did not like to be messed with. And I had the last group of the night down during the flashlight tours when we did them in October. Had the last group of the night. I took my flashlight over. I set it up. And I said, "If you're here, would you please turn that?" And boom, right on. I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Go ahead and shut it off." And he did. And I said, "I bet you're getting pretty tired of people coming down here, aren't you?" I said, "If you are, turn on the light." Light came on. I said, "I'll tell you what. I'm the last group tonight, and if you're ready for us to leave, knock that flashlight over." Boom. It fell over. My group took off out the door, headed up the stairs, and I'm walking over. I said, "Hey, thanks, man. That was awesome." And I picked it up. I said, "Have a good evening." And I just walked out, no biggie.
You know how to clear a room.
But I was down there. I was down there the first time this happened. And the first time I figured him out, I had to go through and lock up. Well, none of the other guides, when I first started, none of the other guides would walk with me because they said I was a magnet. And I'm like, "Okay, that's what we're here for." And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah." Well, I had to walk down to lobotomy recovery. You got to lock those doors down there and then come up and back and then lock this other thing up. So I'm locking everything up. I get to that freaking door right outside of his room. and I get kicked in the butt by a work boot. I mean, it was a work boot. It lifted me up, and oh, damn, it hurt. And I whirled around, and I cut loose. I cut loose on him, and I said, "That's enough of that crap." I said, "I got to come down through here all the time." I said, "I'm not going to deal with this," you know. And I was talking with him, and it never happened again. But oh man, that hurt so bad. I when I first started, I thought all this getting touched and all this was just Hollywood BS. Oh no, no. I've had I've been pinched, bit, scratched, punched, kicked. Um, yeah, I've had my hair pulled. I've had my hair yanked. Um, one night, I had a newbie falling to follow the tour and figure out what we do. My hair starts coming up like this, and he reaches over and knocks it down. I said, "What are you doing?" And the whole group, "Man, your hair was lifting up." I said, "Take a picture. Take a picture. Don't knock that down. Take a picture. We need evidence. That's what you're here for. Take a picture." I said, "If they grab me by the hair of the head, drag me down the hallway, video that, video it, then help me. Get it on video first. And then, then we'll worry about getting me loose or whatever. But I want it on video."
So your instructions to your group is, if you get drugged down the hallway by your hair, take video first and then figure out what closet they stuffed me in later. Okay. I'm going to remember this next
That's
time.
the way, I mean, that's the way I am. I hear a noise, I hear a growl, I hear whatever. I'm the first one there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that Facebook thing they did? Which person would you be in a horror movie? What number would you be to die? Did you ever see that?
Oh, yeah.
Little thing is one of them little test things or whatever. You had to answer questions.
It's like the first one would be the one that ran up the steps and
yeah.
One. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what number I was?
You're probably like the last one. You're probably like, if it was 1 to 10, you're probably 10.
Oh no.
Or you're the killer.
I didn't even make it to opening credits. I died before they even started filming. That's what it says. You hear somebody scream. What do? I go check it out. Yeah. I went through the whole thing, and the answer or the thing to it said, you don't even make it to the show. You die before opening credits. I was like, oh man.
But you're the one that got the most action, though.
Yeah.
You've seen everything. I mean, the places people don't, and a lot of people, I guess, aren't familiar with Trans-Allegheny, though. Trans-Allegheny is huge.
242,000 square feet.
And it's laid out like nothing I've ever seen before. It's kind of like a pitchfork looking thing if you look at it from the top. And I'm thinking, if the stairs don't kill you, getting lost in it probably will. There's a lower level though in there. Like you go over to the left part and go down, and isn't there like a Civil War or a lower level? If you go down into like a basement or something to the lower left, and not in the right place.
That's the right side. That's lobotomy recovery.
Okay.
You go down A and B.
You go down like down deep and underneath.
Well, it's just it's on that end. They've added the extra story because it's just 2-story on that far right side, and on the very far in the back.
Because I've done Moundsville too, which that place, that was a whole nother kind of creepy. That was
the one after I left there. I didn't do a whole lot. I went to St. Albans, and then I kind of just laid back. And I don't know if you know Mike Ricksecker. He and I have been friends, and this is going to tell my age and everything. He and I have been friends since MySpace.
I remember MySpace.
we met on there and got talking, and now Mike's been on. Oh my gosh, um, he did the Alaska Triangle, that one show that they had on.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
he was on it. He's been on several others, um, but he and I, we've been friends forever. And he calls me, and he says, "Hey," he says, "I'm going up to the Belair House."
Hey Matt.
And I said, "The Belair House?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "It's up above Wheeling." He said, "You want to go?" I said, "I'll meet you there." And me and him went in there, and that Kristen that owns it, or Kristen,
Hmm.
yeah, it's Kristen that owns it or lived there. She she came later in the evening, but when we got there, they left the door open for us. They left it unlocked. Well, me and Mike go walking in, and no more than we walk in, we hear it's got wooden floors upstairs. We heard somebody run down the hallway. I looked at Mike. I said, "Really? Somebody's in here already?" So up the stairs we go to run them out, and there's nobody there. And we went on upstairs to the attic area, and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Looked at Mike. I said, "This is going to be a good night." And we come back down. We come back down, and we're getting our stuff in and everything, and it's got its own little kitchen in there. So we tuck our food and stuff in there, put in the fridge. And as we're walking to it, I'm like, look to my left. I said, "There's the basement." He said, "Yeah." And I walk towards the door, and you hear somebody go down the stairs. And I'm like, "Really?" So I open up the door. Me and Mike go down there. There's nobody there. That night was absolutely awesome. I mean, we had a blast that night. And the guy upstairs has a nasty habit of shoving people down the stairs.
Oh God.
And me and Mike are coming back, and we're starting down the stairs. And I just reached for the handrail, and I got this overwhelming feeling. And I whirled around. I said, "Don't even think about it." I said, "You didn't want to talk to me back there in that room. You can go back to that room right now and leave me alone." I said, "You're not shoving me down the freaking stairs." And Mike turned around. And he said, "He come after you?" I said, "I'm telling you, he was right here ready to let me have it."
Yeah.
And I think there was just a couple nights before somebody got shoved down the stairs. They got hit from behind. And they said it feels like they put both hands on your shoulders and just wham, just let you have it. And I whirled around, and yeah, I didn't get shoved down the stairs. But
No.
that that one got me started back, I guess you could say. But
Hmm.
what really did it was this year at St. Albans.
Yeah.
They put us down in the bowling alley,
Uh-huh.
and I've never gotten anything in the bowling alley. It's always been boring to me. We were
Oh.
down there, and holy crap. I got a feeling. I looked at Adam, and I said, "Is there a report of a little girl down here?" He says, "I don't know." He said, "Maybe."
She's about 13.
And we were sitting there, and I couldn't get her to talk to me, and I just had that feeling there was a little girl there. And this lady come in, and she had one of those cat balls that lights up,
Hmm.
and she said, "Here, can you do this? Can you make this ball light up?" And the ball lit up. And she sat there, and she says, "Oh, that is so awesome." She says, "Can you move the ball?" And the thing rolled about a foot down the bowling alley, and you know how knobby them things are. They don't
Oh
just
yeah,
move.
they don't roll good.
And it lit up and started rolling, and I was sitting there I was having a ball. And then there was a bunch more. I mean, I was doing a session in that bathroom back there. I come across. They said he was there in the 50s, is what he said. And I sit there and I hadn't used my dowsing rods in forever, and I got them out, started working them, and I paid for that. Talk about paranormal hangover.
Yeah.
Um, it hit me hard because I forgot how bad it drains
How
you the
bad
first
it
few
drains
times
you. Yeah.
you use it.
There's been some really weird stuff going on down there. I haven't been in the last couple of years, so that's a story for another day.
There's a question.
Yeah, Native White Man asked you a question. So, have you ever had an encounter with a demon?
Not, I don't know how to. I don't believe it was a demon. Um, One guy told me that. Well, here's how it went. One of the guys called and said he had an investigation that I needed to help on. Said there was a 3-year-old boy that getting messed with, and it was getting bad. And I said, okay, I'll go. Well, back up, a friend of mine that I went to school with, I didn't know how he was, and he didn't know how I am. And he has become a shaman, and he's a remote viewer.
Hmm.
And the remote viewer thing, I wasn't too much of a believer on and stuff, but he's the one that told me to watch what I asked for. But he told me, he said, he out of the blue, he contacted me, and we started talking on Facebook and stuff. Well, I get a message, and he says, call me. So I called him, and he said, I don't know what you're up to, but you don't need to go tonight. Now, he lives in Kansas City, Missouri. I
Hmm.
live here. I didn't talk to him. I didn't post anything. Nobody said anything about me going anywhere. And he said, you don't need to go. He said, you're not strong enough. And I said, what? He said, you're not strong enough. And I told him, I said, well, it's a 3-year-old boy. I'm going. And he said, well, since you're going to be stubborn, I'm going to tell you the layout of the house. And I'm like, okay. And he sat there and he told me, he said, the front door is in the middle. He said, you got a bedroom on the right. You walk into the living room. He said, in the living room, there's a shrine to angels. He said, that's what I'm seeing. I said, okay. He said, over the kitchen table, he said, there's a picture of the grandfather praying over the bread. I said, okay. And he said, over in the kitchen on the other side, he said, the Lord's Supper, or not the Lord's, yeah, the Lord's Supper picture, or Last Supper picture. He said, that's in there. He said, then you go down the hall, there's a bathroom and a bedroom. He says, it's a trailer. I'm like, okay. And I was told we were going to a trailer. That's all I was told. And anyway, he told me, he said it was a shapeshifter. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I didn't understand. I was still a little green on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I went and I made everybody go outside because it wasn't showing itself. It wasn't doing nothing. And I sat in there in that little boy's bedroom. And I said, you like to pick on little kids? I said, here I am. I'm in here by myself. And out of the corner of my eye, back this way, but kind of behind me, I could see something. And I turned, and there was a big shadow, and it just went away. And I said, oh, I see. I said, you can't face somebody. You got to be, well, I said, you got to be a chicken shit and not come at me face first. And anyway, I kept on. Well, we saged the house, and then I saged the people, and I went to sage the little boy, and he says, I'm scared of fire. I'm scared of fire, and run around behind his mom. Stupid me didn't catch it. So I didn't sage him. couple nights later, we ended up calling clergy to go up there and help get rid of everything. It got nasty. And then I was on picking my kids up, and over the phone, when they made the phone call to us, over the phone, you could hear the little boy in the background, and it didn't sound like a little 3-year-old, and it was saying, "It's your fault, Daddy. It's your fault they're here." And I'm like, "Oh crap," you know. So then we called in clergy and went up and got it taken care of. Well, I picked up my kid, my 3 from daycare, and my boy was 3 years old, and we're on our way home, and all of a sudden, out of my 3-year-old's mouth was, "It's your fault, Daddy." I locked that van up, slid to the side of the road, and I told the kids, I said, "You don't hear what Daddy's saying, okay? We just don't even tell Mom about this." And I commenced to telling it, "Go away." Well, it stopped with the kids and the family, but for months I kept seeing, like, me and the dog. I let the dog out one night, and me and him's out in the yard, and hair went up on him, and he starts growling. I'm like, "What are you growling at?" And I look, and there's this big, huge shadow laying on the ground. I'm like, well, I turned to look at the light, and there's no light that would do that from that direction. And I'm like, "Oh crap." And I turned to look back, and it was gone. And his hair was still up, and I thought, yeah, this isn't good. So I've ended up having my property blessed. And yeah. But I quit doing residentials unless it's an absolute. If somebody calls me in, then I'll go. But you make something like that taught me a lot. You make something mad, and then you got to deal with it over and over and over, and it could make worse on the families. So for myself, unless the right people ask me, I'm not going to do a residential. You know, I might go in and assess or do whatever that way, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to be the one that makes it mad.
Not try to kick it out.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and take a quick break right quick and play the P3 program video and ghost hunt, global ghost hunt video, and then we'll come back and finish up the last part of the show.
Sorry, I'm trying to smile. I'm listening. I was into the story because it's going to lead to what we're going to talk about next, which is remote viewing, because that's been a big thing for us in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Remote viewing and finding things that were lost.
This is true.
We're gonna play the P3 program and take a little quick break, and then we'll come back, and then we will finish up with our show in a little bit. Okay.
We'll be right here.
This is the P3 program video, y'all.
You know how we do. Big up to this crew. From day one till it's done, do or die, me and you. Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. Got props non-stop and mad love for you. Rising up like the moon, elevating the mood, uplifting attitudes, cause that's what we choose to do. And I don't know about you, but there's enough negativity going around with plenty room to improve. Yeah, sometimes we collide with stress and negativity. We always let it slide. It's an elevated vibe, so fly. We touch the sky every time we ride. Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. From day one till it's done, do or die, me tell me what you find. You're gonna see the same sucker MCs on the sidelines. In the fourth quarter when it's do or die time. That's when this crew is inclined to go prime time. From day one straight till it's done. But you all know full well that we only just begun. Yeah. We stick together, one for all for one. When it gets heavy, no, we don't cut it run. Crazy thinking about the places that we've been. Now I could tell you stories that'll make your head spin. But like I said, straight, thick or thin, there's so many memories giving me silly grins. So please allow me to introduce to you my one and only homies. Yo, I love this crew. So please allow me to introduce to you my one and only homies. Yo, I love this crew. Big up, big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. From day one till it's done, do or die, me and you.
What is the Global Ghost Hunt to me? The Global Ghost Hunt is a celebration of teams and locations, not just here in the U.S., but all around the world. It is an opportunity to unite groups and enthusiasts of this paranormal community in many different ways, and to highlight teams, locations, and all of us. And honestly, why wouldn't you want to be a part of it? You get to experience new groups. You get to promote yourself, promote your teams, and more importantly, too, the locations. A lot of our locations are being forgotten. So the Global Ghost Hunt is a perfect opportunity to bring your team, bring your locations out into the spotlight and have your chance to have your 15 minutes of fame and to make an everlasting impact in our community.
Well, welcome back, y'all.
Do y'all get rested and get something to drink?
Yeah.
I should have gotten something a little bit stronger than water.
I had to readjust my beautiful hat, you know.
No, you and those Cowboys hats.
Yeah.
What is that? I had to find part of someone's lost soul. Oh yeah, I don't do mirrors. We don't do mirrors. I asked my daughter. She's 9. I tell her to do her thing. She does weird stuff all the time. Whatever her weird stuff is, it pays off. I don't know. But
yeah, it pays off.
Well, I have to tell you the reason why I offered to you that day. Let me tell you what she had done before. Now, it isn't the first time. She has, ever since she was little, my parents used to live in a mobile home. And that mobile home my dad passed away before she was born. Mobile home was gone. Had been sold and trashed before she was ever born. But she told us when she was like 3 or 4, exactly what it looked like, what color was inside of it, where my dad was sitting, how my dad sat, the direction that you went to go to one of the bedrooms, the direction to go to the other bedroom, where the kitchen was, the bathroom, and everything. And she'd never been in a mobile home before. So we were getting ready to do the Trivette Clinic. And that was going to be her first investigation. So she had never looked. This has been a couple years ago. She had never seen Trivette Clinic. She's only heard us talk about going, but she had never seen it. And she's not one to go look it up on the internet. I mean, if she's going to play with the internet, she's going to play games on the phone. Mm-hmm. So I had her draw a picture of where we were going to go. And I had her write down what it was made of, which was brick. And she drew a 2-story house with double doors in the front and a little thing on top, like another little building with window on it. And then a piece on the side, a side porch or something on the side. Now, granted, I'd been in the building before, And I didn't even know it had double doors on the front of the thing because it only open one when you go in. But she drew double doors and it had double doors. And the way we go in, we always go in at night. So I never knew that it had an extra piece on the top of it, like almost like I don't know, it's like an attic space, but it's tiny and it had windows in it. I'd never seen that before because it's blocked by trees and it was dark. Experience. Love to chat with myself. Oh, with you, myself. Yeah, you're gonna leave us. Thanks for joining us. So, oh, your eyes are glowing blue.
Who, mine?
Oh, yeah. I think it's your computer.
It's the glasses.
I
It's the
had no
glasses on
clue
the.
that she had this thing up above the house that she had drew on there. And then on top of that, she added something extra on the side. I didn't know the place had a porch either. The child had never been there before. And she was only 6. So she had drew out this whole house made of brick, double doors, top up there, side porch, and half of it I didn't even know was there. And that was before she ever went to it. So I'm like, what is going on with this child? I mean, I've seen her do some other crazy things, but that part of it was odd to me. So when you were struggling the other day, I'm like, well, let's see what we can do. And for her to come up with the things that she came up with for you, even I was floored. She was floored. She's like, I don't know. This is just what I'm seeing. And for you to be able to find it based off of that, I mean, I don't know how much it helped, but
Well, I was sitting in there in the living room, and I looked at Michelle and I said, all the stuff that we moved out of the bedroom, because her mom recuperated from COVID here.
Mhm.
So I've got the master bedroom, so the bathroom's just right there, and it's got a door in the bedroom, and then a door, it's got a little hallway, and then you can shut the door there, and then you don't hear anything in the rest of the house.
Right.
And we had it insulated because then we were working at the asylum, so had it insulated, you can sleep in here and not hear anything.
Right.
And anyhow, we moved that all out, and I moved a lot of my fly tying stuff and some other stuff out in the garage. On the left hand side, in the left corner, not far from that, and I was like, I'm sitting there on the couch, and I looked over at Michelle, and I'm like, I wonder. She says, what? I said, you reckon my necklace fell in one of them boxes?
Well, she said it fell in a box.
Mm-hmm. And it fell in the last box I moved out. And it
Yeah.
was the first box I opened up, and it was laying right there on the bottom, and I saw the string off of it. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I reached down and I pulled that thing up out of there, and I walked in the house, and that's when I sent you the message. Tell her thank you very much.
Yeah. So for people that are just catching parts of this, what had happened, he had lost the necklace he has on. And at that point, we both thought, hey, well, she'll try. So what she had, and this was all done by text, we didn't call each other. So what she had said was, because I remember asking you if you had been investigating, because she said it was a 2-story dirty white house. And to her, I guess dirty white meant that it wasn't like Snow White.
Yeah.
Well, he's in West Virginia. We're in Virginia. I didn't know he lived in a 2-story gray house, which makes sense for her dirty white house because it's not full white. It's not white. So she said it was in the back and it fell in a box.
That's it.
And then she said it's in the very back in the left-hand corner in a box. It fell in a box. And I'm like, I don't know if that's going to help, but that's what she's saying. And so we went on and we're like, and he didn't find it. And, because that's all she had. It was a 2-story dirty white house. It was in the very back. and it fell in a box. And then a couple of days, we decided that we figured Mother Earth had claimed it back. We weren't sure where it had went. And then when you showed me that picture and sent it to me, I was like, you've got to be shitting me. I mean, who would have thought? And it fell in a box. And when you move things, I guess, to the garage, then you found it in the
It got
left-hand
knocked
corner.
off. It got knocked off my nightstand into that box. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. And
And
left-hand
this
corner of the box.
Michelle bought me the medallion
Mhm.
years ago, and then a buddy of mine made that ghost bead, and then all the rest of the beads are close to, well, probably over 200 years old. They're original trade beads, and this thing means the world to me. And if I'm on investigation and you see me get a hold of this thing and start rubbing it, it's about to get real.
Like I said, she couldn't have been more
And
happy
I've been
that
on.
she found it.
I went to St. Albans and I didn't have it,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh man, I'm just not me, you know.
Yeah.
And now that I've got it back, um, yeah, yeah, it's not come off. I mean, I take it off at night, put it on the nightstand, and then put it right back on in the morning when I head for work or wherever. I don't leave. Yeah, it's just me. I've had this necklace for, oh my Lord, 20, well, about 20 years.
Well, she's still working on what she can do and what she can't do, and we're still learning things new about her every day. But like I said, that was something, and it makes her feel good that she's able to help people, even though sometimes she doesn't understand how she's helping people. And to
Yeah.
her, it's just, I shouldn't say it's a game, but it's not work to her. It's just something
No,
that
it's a
comes to
gift.
her, and it's something fun. We do have other issues with her where she does see things, and they do keep her awake. And we're working through that. But we're finding as she gets older, everything gets stronger. And it's stuff like that, like finding things or seeing things that she can't pinpoint. And then all of a sudden now things are starting to make sense. Like she pinpointed something and it actually came back to her and it helped.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it encourages her to try more.
Oh yeah. And I had a thing happen. It's been a few years back. Um, there was a lady that worked at the bank here, and she hooked up with this guy, and it was a very toxic relationship. And the guy ended up he murdered her. He killed her.
How?
Well, my wife went to school with her daughter and everything, and I've become friends with her daughter. And of all places, at the Dollar General,
Oh wow.
I ran into the daughter. I'm sitting there and we were talking. I asked her how she was doing, and she looked at me and she said, "I just want to know that mom's okay." She says, "I just want to know that she's okay." All of a sudden, left shoulder got cold. I felt the hand, and in my ear, I hear her mom say, "Tell her I'm fine." And I'm like, what? What? this that has never ever happened, you know. And I'm sitting there, and how do you tell the person? I've
Right.
never experienced this. And I looked at her and I said, "You know me, right?" She says, "Yeah." And I said, "You know I don't BS about paranormal." She says, "Yeah." I said, "There's only one way I know how to do this." I said, "Your mom just told me to tell you she's fine." And she teared up and give me a big hug, and I'm like, it's you know, this is strange to me. This has never happened before. Mm-hmm. And we got talking a little bit more, and then I feel the hand on my shoulder again, and I hear in my ear again, tell her I'm with her all the time. And so I told her, and now nothing like that's happened since. I don't know if it was because I knew both of them real well, and I talk to her mom all the time up at the bank, and I don't know. I don't know why. And well, like Michelle told me, she says, if it would be anybody, it would be you. You are so open and so receptive that they know that you can feel or hear or whatever, and there you go. And I can honestly say that shook me up a little bit.
Well, you knew both of them, and you were in the right spot at the right time where you needed to be.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And I shouldn't be surprised by anything anymore. I
no,
mean, but it does kind of blindsides you. You know what I mean? You're not expecting it, and maybe if I expected it, it might happen more. I don't know, but
no, it would
I'm
take all the
not
fun out of
gonna
it
for them because it shocked the
for
crap out of
you.
me.
For you too, it would take all the fun out of it if you were growing to expect it to happen. Take all the fun out of it. Try that with a 9-year-old. You never know what the hell's going to come out their mouth. It's like, okay,
Yep.
yeah, sure.
Well, I've got a few more questions for you, bud.
I do have one. What is Wild Man said? Do I?
He's
Oh,
talking.
ground. You know what? She carries. She usually carries stones, rocks. You name it, she'll pick it up. If it's a rock that she finds she enjoys, she'll pick it up. If it's she has hematite is one that she carries a lot. Uh Different kinds of crystals. I would go into the fact of her laying crystals on your head or on your hand, on your leg, and trying to heal you, which has gotten rid of headaches. It's gotten rid of knee pain. I, she does some strange things that I'm still learning. But one of the things that she does carry around a lot are crystals, and she does carry around hematite. And that actually came from Amy Allen. Amy Allen was the one that helped me and her both when she was probably about 3.5, 4. Explain why she has a fascination with stones, with rocks. It's like she's got to go through. You give her 1,000 rocks in a pile, and she's going to pick out 2, and they'll be at the
Mm-hmm.
bottom. And it's just whatever's calling to her for her comfort, and that's what grounds her are these stones. And so that's what she does. And if I take her anywhere, I usually slather her down with like anointing balm and throw on some crystals and you name it. And I put anything I can on the poor child. I've got blessed metals, and I've got some of Lorraine Warren's beads. I've got some of her costume jewelry gets turned into beads. Her daughter Judy makes bracelets.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a bracelet with some of Lorraine Warren's beads on them. We take those on investigations if we take her. People always have this thing where they say, "Oh, you're taking your 9-year-old on investigations." No. Certain locations she goes, very few locations. She's been going in these places since she was 3, and I don't take her anywhere that she's not safe and protected. So it's not like I'm yanking my child off into a bunch of haunted locations where she's going to get hurt. But I can't hide her from it either. I mean, with the things that she does and the things that she's able to see and do on her own, I can't hide her away from who she is. So they just come find her here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, if you had a chance to go anywhere in the world and it was paid, where would you like to go to investigate that?
The one that I think would be the most awesome would be that Pavaglia Island.
Oh, the island of the dolls.
No. This one was It was on Ghost Adventures,
Oh, I know which one. It's the other.
and
I know which one you're talking about.
it's where the people they ended up putting them that had the plague
Yes.
and all that, and then and then it was a was it a hospital or a prison or something? I can't remember exactly, but yeah, that one I would absolutely love to go to.
Yeah, I remember now.
And
It's
the
the
most
Forbidden Island or something is what they
the
call it.
most reason that I watch that at all is because of the locations. I like to see the locations. I kind of try to ignore the rest,
Yeah.
but I'll, I'll watch it for a few minutes and and check out the locations.
What
Um,
is your favorite piece of equipment to use?
my dowsing rods first, and then audio recorder running at the same time. That's my two. That's my two favorites. Um, my dowsing rods. Everybody's always got these little rods about yay long. Mine happen to be right here,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I can get them in the screen all the way or not.
What the heck?
they're about oh, they're about 16 inches long probably, and they're handmade. I've had these things forever, and I did uh, the craziest thing I ever had happen with them. There's two spots. I don't know if they're still on there or not. Yeah, it is. They're like they got burnt. You know how copper does when it gets hot and it burns, it scorches.
Hmm.
I've still got the marks on here from that, and that actually happened at the asylum. Uh, I can't get them back in there yet. Um, I was in Big Jim's room, and it got nasty. And you know how everybody holds the dowsing rod straight out.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
me, I hold them down. They got to defy gravity. I said because if I, it's too easy to manipulate them, and people don't realize they're actually doing it themselves. And the way I hold mine, I got one finger like so, and then I rest it. There we go. I rest it on the heel of my hand. So I've just got those two little points touching, and then, like I said, I aim them down. Well, I was in there that night, and the rods crossed, and then it was Paul was standing there with me. Rods crossed, and then they started raising up like this, like somebody had grabbed them and was lifting them up. And I ended up having to grab a hold of the handles, and finally I got mad, and I said, "That's enough," and I pulled them down like that and pulled them apart, and I walked out. I mean, it drained me. I can't even. I went out and set up against the wall, kind of with your feet on the floor, just rest
Hmm.
against the wall. And like you're sitting down, I was holding rods like that, and Paul come out and he said, "Oh my God!" He said, "What was that?" I'm like, "I don't know." And we decided. He said, "You got any more in you?" I said, "I think so." He said, "Well, let's go down to the end of the ward and get away from here." I said, "That's a good idea." So we went down there, and when I got down there, I carried my rods basically like this, all the way down. When I get to the other end of the ward, my rods were bent like that. It like somebody just took them and just bent them around. And I didn't realize it going down the hallway. I got down there and I went to bring them up, and it's like, what's this? But they've got a scorched spot on them where they crossed, and like somebody had a hold of them. And I know I haven't. I don't. Like I said, I don't polish them up or anything like that. I just use them.
Yeah.
And I've used these for witching water and all kinds of stuff. electric lines. I do that at work. And the guys are like, "Are you sure it's right here?" It's like, trust me. I
It's
found a
there.
50. I found a 50 pair shielded phone cable, and I told them mark my right foot, and they did. And the guy that had oh, it's the cable, that cable hound is what he called it, and it
Mhm.
makes the beeping noise. And he's sitting there spraying where he's finding it, and I said, "You're wrong." He said, "This isn't wrong." I said, "That's wrong." And my boss reached out with the backhoe, stuck it in the ground. I said, "You better be careful. It's right there." And up out of the ground, he ripped that 50 pair line in half, right exactly where I had it marked. And they're like, "How do you do this?" I said, "I don't know. I just know."
Yeah.
Same with water lines, all that stuff. I mean, I've done it for years.
Author up here, Joseph, he asked me that I do the I posted a video we did last night, and I hadn't had a chance to post that.
Yeah, I
Right.
haven't seen last night's graveyard video.
Yeah,
And then I see
I hadn't
Native Wild Man. He's got another one too. What did he say? Oh, connections to ancient ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
Ancient like how? What do you mean, Native Wild Man? I'm curious before I say anything. I'm curious to see what he says.
All right.
Well, that's
While he's doing that, I got another quick question for you. What do you think about investigating the Bermuda Triangle? Would you attempt to go do that?
I just went through there on a big boat.
What were you doing going through on a big boat? You're on a cruise ship
Yeah.
and you picked the Bermuda Triangle of all places you could go.
No, it just happened to go through part of it.
I was going to say, I mean, I know you to be crazy, but come on now.
We're getting ready to go do one.
Are you going to go through the Bermuda Triangle too?
My luck will probably go right through the middle of it.
Well, I was joking with Adam because I'd never been on a cruise before.
Oh,
And
they're great.
I told Adam, I said, "I think I must have been a pirate in another life."
Yeah.
He said, "Why is that?" I said, "Because I love rum and I love the ocean." But that was that. I have to admit that was an awesome vacation for sure.
Yeah.
And we went to Jamaica, Grand Caymans, and Cozumel.
So that's the same one we took.
It was awesome.
We did
But
pretty good, but my husband wasn't thrilled.
Leaving out of Miami, yeah, I don't care if I ever go back to Miami.
Oh, now see, we left out of New Orleans. And we did pretty good. The only thing he's not much on going to like the touring stuff. And I still hear about it. And this was like back when my middle son is 19 and he was like 5. So that tells you how long ago. So what, 14 years? And we went, and I still hear to this day about the excursion I planned for Jamaica. And had I been into paranormal, I would have went on to there in Montego Bay. There's a haunted Rose Hall, I think, in Jamaica. So I would have went on a paranormal thing. But no, I decided to go on a banana plantation and how they make make rum and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, it was like going to a damn farmer's market. And he said he was so upset that I drug him to a whole big old farm full of weeds in the middle of Jamaica. I am still 15 years later hearing about the weeds in Jamaica. Yeah. Now we were like shit-faced drunk by the time we tried all the different, here, sample this kind of rum, sample that, and sample this. And by the time we got done, we didn't really care where we were. But, you know, and I do remember, oh God, we saw our first KFC in Jamaica. The lady said, you know what we call that in Jamaica? Keep from cooking.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah. By that time, we'd done spent 3 days on a ship. I was ready to eat some kind of real food instead of snails. They fed me snails and lobster.
Yeah.
Give me
I
a
had
chicken leg. Come on, people.
I put on 12 pounds while
Oh,
on
we
that ship.
ate good. Yeah. That's all they do. They send you on there, and the first thing they do when they tell you to get on there, you can't get to your room, go eat.
Mm-hmm. And I
It's like
did.
fourth floor, go eat. The
I
food's
did.
open. Yeah. That's all we did was eat and drink the whole time we were on there.
That's pretty much what I did.
Yeah.
And a lot of rum.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Rum cake.
I'd like to well, I've got do you know John Marshall
The
from
name
Kentucky?
sounds familiar.
He does a lot Bod's Mayhem Hour. He does interviews a lot of the heavy metal bands and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, he and I met him at Scarefest,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the one I'm going with on the 11th. We're doing that William Edgar Heyman House? Yeah, I think that's the right name, in Sutton, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to go to it the 11th. And I'm going to try to get my YouTube fired back up if they haven't kicked me out of there. I've got a lot of stuff posted, but shoot, it's from years ago. So hopefully I'll be putting a bunch of new stuff up. I've got, I've got, there was a school in Princeton
Mm-hmm.
that we went and did. And nobody had been in there to investigate or anything. And it was me and, what was the name of I can't remember the name of their group, but it was me, Nick McWethy, Brian Hensley,
Mm-hmm.
and then Anthony Romeo, and then Zach McCormick went with me. And I've got a thing, and I need to get it sent. I emailed or messaged Barry about it because he's Irish, so I was going to send it to him, and I spoke a little bit of Cherokee first, and then I went into Gaelic, and I said, Kamada Hashiv, which is hello, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy said, this other guy that was in there, not in our group, he says, were you speaking English? And I said, no. I said, it was Cherokee first. And I said, then I spoke Irish Gaelic. And he said, oh, okay. But when I said Irish Gaelic, there's an EVP comes through and they're answering in Irish Gaelic. So I need to get it sent to Barry, that Barry Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to send it to him
And
so
see if he can translate it.
If he can translate it for me. But it's up on there. My YouTube channel is at CopperheadGH is what it is. But hopefully I'll be posting a lot of stuff for too long if I get that new camera.
Yeah, and we'll have to get you out sometime and get up towards West Virginia and do something up there. I know there's a lot of places up there.
Yeah, what's it called? Old hospital on College Hill.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people's been going to it. I'm
Sweet
dying.
Springs is back up and open now too, I heard.
What's that one?
Sweet Springs?
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah,
that Sweet
I was
Springs is
supposed
back
to.
open again.
I got an invitation to come to that, but I couldn't get loose. I ended up with a new job, so I was kind of had to stick around here
Yeah.
for that.
So I heard
Um,
that one is up and running, and I've wanted to get into that one for a while. So in next year we're going to try to branch out and get a couple of good investigations going. I see Native Wild Man come back with shaman.
mhm.
It's funny he should say shaman. On my side, we do have some Indians, Native American. I'm not sure what kind. I don't know what my grandmother was, but she's from the Rockbridge area, and her last name was Fox. So I don't know what her lineage would have been, but on my husband's side, my daughter is Aztec. So if you look at her background, she's actually Aztec and Native American.
Well,
He's Mexican, but I mean their background is Aztec Indian. So she's got Native American from both sides.
I'm
So it
a
doesn't surprise me.
I'm a definite Heinz 57.
Oh, you're a mix. Yeah. We are
I've
too.
got I've got Scots, Irish, Cherokee. I don't claim the English. Um,
Yeah, we don't know what we are. I mean,
German.
I just know that the shaman part sounds right because I've had too many people tell me and ask me, like, Pat O'Keefe.
Mhm.
She actually told me that Bella reminds her of an Aztec princess. And I kind of looked at her funny and I'm like, how would you come up with that? And I said, you have no idea, do you? And she's got a photo shoot scheduled with Pat as soon as we can get our schedules together. But she's gonna do an Aztec princess photo shoot with Pat. Pat's work is amazing. Um, but she actually is Aztec Indian on her dad's side. And they go back to the healing because back then, I mean, that's all they did. It's just like what we would do a grainy woman here. That's what
Mhm.
our grandmothers did here was they healed. They're from the Appalachian Mountains. So they didn't do anything other than heal from what you had. It wasn't you carried
Yeah.
everybody to the doctor every time they got sick. I mean, you went outside and ground up some weeds and boiled it and blew smoke in your ear when you had an ear infection and I mean some weird stuff, scratch potatoes
Mhm.
on a burn. But don't tell me you
Chewing
never
the
had the when
chewing
you got
tobacco on a chewing tobacco on a bee sting.
oh yeah, snuff. You get
Mhm.
snuff on a bee sting.
Yeah.
Or when you got really, really sick and you got the croup, you got the fried onions in the white sack and they smacked it on your chest and covered you up to here. God, I used to hate that one. That was like the worst cure ever. I think they were trying to kill me. I didn't eat onions until I was like 40. Was
Well,
traumatized.
when I moved here, I didn't know about ramps.
Hmm?
They're a wild leek, and
Really?
they are very, very pungent. My, I can eat them things raw. I can
So
eat
like
them
just like a
sautéed
wild
out.
onion?
Yeah, well, not it's a very like if you took a purple onion and garlic and mixed them together.
Oh. This sounds like it's going towards my story of my mother's watercress. Like cress, it's some kind of like salad that
Hmm.
grows in springs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If watercress is growing there, you can drink the water.
Oh, well, you can eat the watercress. Don't you laugh, John. If you laugh, I'm coming to North Carolina after you.
I I ate watercress when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, my mom wanted some a couple of weeks ago on the way back from North Carolina. And I decided to stop and get her some. Now, Copper, you know my luck. I am not exactly the luckiest person. You've been with me. I trip upstairs. I don't do well. So I'm just going to stand on a rock on the edge of the little creek there and get the watercress at Graham's mansion, by the way. On the outside of the fence, not the inside. There's the little branch that runs down at the bottom of the hill. So there, it's full of watercress. And about 5 minutes later, it was full of me because I fell off the rock. And I'm sitting ass first in the creek with the watercress all around me. So I'm like, while I'm in here, damn, I'll just pick a couple more hands full. I mean,
Well, while you're there,
yeah. Well, then I mean, I have to change my clothes now because I can't sit in my truck on leather seats with muddy water breeches. I tell you, it was just like being with you and Adam when we go investigating. I always get in trouble for something. I always do something wrong or something chases me or I fall down or
were you with us? I don't remember if you were with us or not. Me and Adam. Well, we took Adam upstairs on the grand staircase at St. Albans, and we took him upstairs, and we're all sitting up there, and
I don't remember.
I kept hearing something, and I looked over at Adam, and I said, somebody's coming up the stairs, and we're sitting there, we're looking and looking. And here comes this shadow figure up the stairs. And it stops and turned and looked at us and then turned around and run back down the stairs. Well, I got up and went after it, of course, and got down there and I cut about halfway down the stairs and I'm looking and it took off back. If you're on the stairs coming down, it went to the right. It went back that way.
Back like towards the storage stuff.
But yeah. I had a camera and I was shooting pictures, but I never did get anything in the pictures.
I sat up at the top of those very stairs and was working like the little Valentine haunted house or somewhere in there, March haunted house. And they had everything all blocked off. And you couldn't get to like Donald's room or over to what's the little boy Jacob's room. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there just minding my own business. There's nobody in the haunted house but me. I'm the only one on the upstairs floor. There's two girls down at the bottom of the stairs, and they're haunting that little section down there for people when they come through. And I'm sitting up there, and you can hear rubber bouncy balls bouncing in Jacob's room. You can hear them plump, 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 plump. And then you hear plump, plump, plump. I'm thinking, okay. Well, so we go in and look the next time we go to investigate, and you see a rubber bouncy ball, and it was one of those big super bouncy balls.
Mm-hmm.
Just hear it drop and hit the floor and bounce like 4 times. And I'm thinking that is the weirdest shit I've ever heard. And you don't think about it until you're sitting there alone in the dark by yourself, and there's nobody there, and all of a sudden you hear a rubber bouncy ball lift up and then bounce in the floor in the room next to you. You're like, that shouldn't be happening.
Adam and I went to Hillview.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach McCormick went with us, and Zach was just going around taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I told Adam, I said, well, let's go up second floor. He says, how are we going to get up there? I said, I'll pull you up. And I'll never do that again. Up 2 flights of stairs by myself, pulling him backwards up them stairs.
Yeah.
And I got him up there, and he says, now how are we going to get me down? I said, I'm just going to shove.
No. Yeah, you have to... Adam, I'll tell you what, Adam is up for everything. I mean, he doesn't say no to much of anything.
We were up there and we're investigating, and there was a little boy up there that loved baseball.
There's another little boy right there, John, who loves baseball.
And we were sitting in his room, and we didn't know Zach had come up, and mm-hmm. Zach was taking pictures. All of a sudden, one of the call, the call button on at the doctor, how they make that noise.
Oh, yeah.
And the light flashes. That sucker went off out in the hallway. like to have scared me and Adam to death. And I'm like, what? And we go running out there, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. And Zach come out of the room with his head down. He says, "That's my fault. I didn't know it actually worked."
I believe I'd have left him in there by himself. He'd have been a patient there for a while after he got the beat down, and I left him in the floor.
Did I ever show you that thing from Hillview Manor? There was a guy went and investigated Hillview, and he was a novice, and I got it sent to me from Rochelle and Paul both, and it's a video that this guy did of his ghost hunt at Hillview, and it's only like, I think it's like 16 minutes maybe.
Uh-huh.
So they said, don't watch the whole thing. Just start about 12 minutes in. I said, okay. Well, he's down in the basement, and I had a little run-in with one down in the basement, and he's down there, and he's got his phone using that Ovulus app.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I really never pay attention to those things. Well, he's using the app, and he says, "Can you tell me your name?" And it says Copperhead, and it capitalized the C.
Oh.
And he's like, "What?" And he laughs. He says, "It says his name's Copperhead." And he plays it again. Well, then he says, I Googled Copperhead. And what was hilarious, the guy found my Copperhead page.
Mm-hmm.
And my profile picture, I was standing in front of Hillview Manor.
Oh, shit.
I've been to Hillview like 5 times. And yeah, the one in the basement and me kind of got into it, but he was trying to say that he was me, I guess, down in the basement.
Or maybe he was trying to call you back so he could finish what y'all started.
Yeah, that might be it too. But do you know Stephanie and Mike Hartman?
No.
By chance? Well, they've made up these shirts since it's Stephanie and Mike, S&M Paranormal.
Oh gosh.
And the "and" is a pair of handcuffs in between the S and M. That's the shirt I've got on. And I took that picture and sent it to Mike and Stephanie, and I said, check it out. I said, I'm sporting your shirt tonight, you know. And but anyway, that was the big joke. Well, then he says he's part of a paranormal group, S&M Paranormal on the shirt. But anyway, I've shown that to people at events and stuff, and they're like, they just freak.
Oh,
And
wow.
John from the guy from Kentucky, I sent it to him the other night, and he texted me back, wow, just wow. I mean, all capital letters. And it's kind of crazy because I'll go to places and do it on purpose. I'll go in and I'll say, you know who I am? And if I've never been there before, I'll say, do you know who I am? And a lot of times I'll get yes. And I say, okay, can you tell me my name in the recorder? And I'll get Copperhead on the EVPs. And it's like, okay, this is wild. How do they know me here?
Maybe because you start trouble with a few and they talk to each other, you think?
That's a good possibility, I guess.
Reputation gets around. I don't know if that's a reputation you want to have, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one I got, I reckon.
I hate to end here, y'all, but I got to go get in bed for work.
Oh, yeah. I know. The
You
dreaded
did have to
Monday
say that
morning.
nasty 4-letter word, didn't you?
Yeah.
We'll have to do this again sometime.
Oh, yeah, we will.
That sounds good. I get that other investigation, and I think have you heard of the Octagon? What is it? Octagon Hall
Yes.
in Kentucky.
Yes.
I'm gonna be going to it with John too. We're gonna do 3 or 4 here together and just kind of collaborate on stuff.
Oh, that'll be
And
good.
Yeah.
Kentucky's
gonna-
got a lot of locations too. The Octagon Hall is great. I've not been there. There's a couple of places I know that we're trying to get into for this next year, but I think things is going to start lifting and getting better, and people are going to start getting more out there now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that we get some good stuff and I can get it put onto the YouTube channel, and I'll be posting stuff on Facebook and everything too.
If you don't
I
mind,
even
go ahead. You go right ahead.
I was gonna say I even fired up my old Twitter page just to see if it was still there.
I got to learn how to use Twitter.
And I used to use it all the time. And when I was investigating, because real quick you can just do a quick tweet, and people followed me like crazy all night long when I was at the asylum. And I hadn't been on it, and oh my Lord, probably 5 years.
Yeah, we got to get you back out there.
So, I'm coming back.
We can't lose you.
Like I said, it got to where I was just burned out. That was the biggie.
Yeah.
I mean, how you doing, dog?
If you don't mind, tell everybody how they can find you, what your YouTube channel is, and stuff like that.
Okay, Facebook is easy. It's Copperhead. That's my page that I post most of my paranormal stuff to. Twitter at CopperheadGH, YouTube at CopperheadGH. So I mean, they're pretty easy to find.
Okay.
And like I said, I hope I'm going to be posting a whole lot of EVPs and video clips. And I'll just throw this out there. I do have a little project that I'm going to be doing. And if all goes well, I'll have something to put up that'll be, how do I put it? It'll be a little longer than just a clip. Yeah. If it all works out. If it doesn't, oh well. But
I think it'll work out just fine. I think they picked the right person. So
yeah,
I hope we'll find out. We'll find out soon enough.
Well, you got to let us know. I mean, you're more than welcome to come back anytime. We'll set you up and you can tell us all about it. And I'm sure we can find another 2 hours worth of stuff we could talk about.
Oh yeah.
No, I can. The last St. Albans thing that I did, I had a year to prepare. For your hour presentation.
Yeah.
I just couldn't make myself do it. I couldn't prepare, and I had shadow people. And I'm like, oh man. And about the week before, I thought, well, I better get on this. Well, 6 kids in the house. Yeah, you don't just sit down and do something.
I was gonna say 6 kids. How do you do anything?
I get to St. Albans, and me and Adam are sitting there. He says, "You got your thing prepared?" I said, "No." He said, "Dude, it's in an hour." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Are you going to do anything?" I said, "I'll Google it." So I Googled shadow people, and I wrote down what Wikipedia says about them, and that's how I opened. And then I went through and I just wrote down what the bullet points were. I didn't read any of it. And once I got rolling, I was in there. I talked for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, but you've seen shadow people, so it makes more sense coming from somebody who's seen them.
It all came back.
Yeah,
it all came back. It's like, I've been out for so long, and it's just back here somewhere, and then here it came. So it was fun.
With 6 kids in the house, the only thing you can think about is being a shadow person, so they can't find you.
Why do you think I do side jobs so I don't have to be at the house?
Thank you.
Just let us know when you're free again. We'll have you back on.
All right.
I really do enjoy you being on tonight. That was kind of interesting hearing some of your stories and stuff like that.
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah,
Like I said, once I get rolling again, I'll have a whole bunch of stuff. It won't take long. Like I said, I got the uncanny knack of finding the ones that don't like to be found,
yeah,
and they get a little
Anybody,
nasty.
yeah, anybody who can get kicked in the ass by something they can't see,
yeah.
they can find trouble anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Well,
I'm
I
good at it.
guarantee you.
I'm gonna play a couple videos, and after the last video, the outro, I will. You can stay in the backstage if y'all want to, or whatever.
I'm gonna hit to bed because if not, you're gonna hear snoring because the Hubs is already sleeping. He's like, I could talk about anything and probably blow the room up, and he wouldn't hear me.
No, but
So I'm gonna head out so that I can get up. We got classes in the morning. Didn't you know I'm a school teacher? We homeschool.
I've got work in the morning too. 6 o'clock comes early.
I know, right?
My 4 o'clock.
I know. You didn't yawn this time, John.
Yeah.
See,
I was going to. I've been tired.
he got yelled at for yawning one day. I'm like, God, the man gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, drives an hour to work, works 12 hours, drives an hour home, and does a 2-hour show, and he yawned. Oh God.
Yep.
People got mad. I'm like, really? I don't think he insulted anyone for yawning.
Well, y'all, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for coming on, and I will see y'all next time.
Thank you,
Okay.
Greg, for helping
Sounds
me
good.
out. I'm glad you found
You're
your
welcome.
necklace.
Yeah. Tell your daughter again, thank you very much.
I sure will.
That was amazing to me.
Well, like I said, she's still reeling over what she can do. I want it to go to her head.
No, then she'll be like me.
Oh Lord, I don't know if I can handle that one.
Nah.
I would love it.
All right. I'll see
You're
y'all.
right. I couldn't change it. See y'all later. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
See you. You too. Bye.
Well, I appreciate you coming by, buddy.
Hey, I appreciated it. And like I said, if things get going and rolling, especially the little project, it'll be that one. That one will be awesome.
All right. I'll talk to you later. I'll send you a message, and we'll schedule you to come back on next time.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is the Global Ghost Hunt to me? The Global Ghost Hunt is a celebration of teams and locations, not just here in the U.S., but all around the world. It is an opportunity to unite groups and enthusiasts of this paranormal community in many different ways, and to highlight teams, locations, and all of us. And honestly, why wouldn't you want to be a part of it? You get to experience new groups. You get to promote yourself, promote your teams, and more importantly, too, the locations. A lot of our locations are being forgotten. So the Global Ghost Hunt is a perfect opportunity to bring your team, bring your locations out into the spotlight and have your chance to have your 15 minutes of fame and to make an everlasting impact in our community.